Welcome back. In this lecture, we will talk about the Java program anatomy. So we will see how a simple Java program will look like. Here is our outline. We will talk about classes and objects briefly. Then we will talk about methods, naming conventions, Java program structure, and packages. So let's get started. First of all, what is a class? A class is a blueprint to create objects. So, what is an object? By definition, object is an instance of a class. So, these are the technical definitions. Let me give you an example to make everything clear. Suppose that we have a factory and this factory produces cars. In order to produce a car, we need to have a characteristics or properties for each car. So the factory contains the characteristics and properties of the cars. For instance, the color of the car, the model, and other informations. So in this case, the factory is the class, and each car will be an object. So the class is the blueprint to create the objects. It has the properties of each object, and we can create objects from this class. Moreover, each object is an instance of a class, because we are creating this object by using this class. Now, let's talk about the class structure. How we create a class inside the Java. It looks like this. We would put the class keyword and a space and then the class name. And this name over here can be anything. We can get any name to our class. After that, we put a curly brace and we close it. Inside of these braces, we could put the code for the class. Here we call it code block because it's a piece of code surrounded by braces. This is a place that we put the Java code. The first class is a keyword. So it is related to the syntax of the Java, to the grammar of Java. And all you see over here are related to the syntax. This structure defines how we create a class in Java. Now let's look at method. Of course, we will talk about the methods later, but I just want to give you an idea. A method is a group of instructions to do a specific task. So let me give you some examples. We can define the method to add two numbers. So we write some codes and these codes are adding two numbers together. And we put this code inside of a structure in Java and we call it a method. This method has specific tasks for adding two numbers. We can create a group of code that say hi to the user of our program. This group of code will be a method and has a specific task, which is to say hi to the user. Another example is to write a method to get the user's name. So we can ask the user for his or her name and the user will give it to us. And also we will group all the instructions together, which is a method that has a specific task. Everything will be more clear when we do some examples in future. Everything in Java have a special method called main. And we will talk about it a little bit. But now let's talk about the method structure in Java. So how do we create a method in Java? What is the syntax or grammar used to create a method in Java? First of all, each method consists of 4 main parts. Let me show you. We have something we call the return type, and we put space and we write the method name and we put some parentheses like this. Inside of the parentheses, we would put the parameters of the methods. The parameters are some data that are given to the method, and the method uses this data inside of the code block. For example, suppose we want to write a method to type the username. So the parameter in this case would be the username, because this is the data that we want to get to this method. And inside the braces, we write a Java code to print the username. And the code block in this case is called the body of the method. Now look at this note. Every method is written inside of a class. So we cannot create a method without creating a class. And of course, this is inside the Java. And you can think about a class as a container of methods. Now we will see how we can call a method. So what is calling a method? It is basically using the method. For instance, we want to call a method that prints the username. In order to use it, we should call it. Now we will see how. We write the method name and parentheses, and inside the parentheses we put the parameters that the method needs. And after that we put a semicolon, because calling a method is a statement in Java, and each statement ends with a semicolon. For example, suppose the method that prints the username is called print. So we put print and parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we put the username. And after that, the code block of this method will be executed. So the body of the code that we wrote using Java will be executed. So in this case, the name that we have given as a parameter will be printed. And later we will learn how we can use Java to print things and other things. Here I'm giving you just some ideas. But just check this note. The main method is automatically called when we run Java. The main method is very important and should exist in all Java programs. This method is called and used automatically. So the main method is the first. It is the first method that is called and is the starting point for execution of our Java program. And we cannot have a Java program without a main method. Now let's see what are the access modifiers. Access modifiers are keywords that specify how to access classes and methods. This will be discussed later in OOP. We have several keywords: public, private, protected, and default. I just want you to get an idea, because these keywords are used in a simple Java program, and I will explain them later in OOP. Now let's see some naming conventions. And these naming conventions are general in programming, and it's not specifically for Java. Those specifies how to write names in programming. We have what's called the Pascal case convention. Suppose we are typing a word in Java, and the word is like this. This is a name. In Pascal case convention, each letter of each word will be capitalized. So this is written with capital T, and is written with capital I. And we have a name. A is a capital A and name is capital N. So first letter of each word will be a capital letter. So Pascal case convention is used for classes in Java. Also, we have a camel case convention. It looks like this. The first letter is a small letter, and after that we will capitalize the first letter of each word. It is similar to the Pascal case convention. The only difference is that the first letter should be a small letter. Camel case conventions is used when we are creating variables and methods in Java. We'll talk about variables later, but I want you to know we are using the camel case convention for defining the methods. Finally, we have the snake case convention. It looks like this. We put underscore between each word. Now, what is the structure of a Java program? First of all, we have a class. Each Java program contains at least one class. So have a look here. We have this access modifier. It's a public, right? And after that, we are creating a class called main. And after that, we are putting the braces. So the code of this class is written between the braces. So we write the main method inside of this class right here. It looks like this. We have a public keyword, which is an access modifier. Then we have static. This is another access modifier, and we will talk about it later in OOP. Then we have the void, which is the return type, and after that we have our main method. And we have parentheses, and inside of parentheses we have the parameters. These over here are some data that we can give to the method to work with. After that, we are opening the braces and close it for the main method. So the code that we write for our main program are written inside the braces for the main method. So this is a simple Java program. And when we create our first Java program, you'll see it looks exactly like this. So the class here is created based on the Pascal case convention. The first letter is capitalized based on the Pascal case convention. And the method main is created according to the camel case convention. So because of that, the first letter is small m. And note that the main method should always called the main, and we cannot use other name for the main method. Now I want you to remember these points. Each Java program contains at least one class. Pascal case convention is used for the classes, and camel case conventions is used for methods. A method exists inside of a class, and the main method is the starting point of execution of our Java program. Now we talk about packages in Java. Package is a container for classes. So imagine this big box is our package. Inside of our package, we have multiple classes. And as we know, inside of each class, we can create multiple methods. This is very important to know.